Tonight, Ghana's economy to take a major hit from coronavirus as Finance Minister briefs Parliament on raft of new measures government is undertaking to mitigate the economic impact.
This is a missed opportunity. His Excellency the President had informed us as a country that he has made available 100 million US dollars. The minister was silent on it.
Well, the minority has been taking him on the issues he raised tonight. The finance minister himself says the measures will work.
The coronavirus will impact negatively on petroleum receipts due to the collapse of international crude oil prices, customs receipts, other receipts. Measures are being put in place to close a possible financing gap in the 2020 budget that could result from the impact of the coronavirus.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion, also brought to you by Gasem, Cement the Nation, Build, and Vodafone. The future is exciting. Ready. Well, my name is Evans Mensah, and the Finance Minister is tonight disclosing to Parliament how the Ghanaian economy is expected to take a major hit from the coronavirus pandemic. The 2020 budget will suffer with a yet to be quantified gap. Now, the minority has been demanding specifics, particularly with respect to what has become what the president announced a few days back, the release of $100 million that has been made available for the war against the coronavirus. The minority wants specifics on the particular subject of the $100 million. We have more on that for you, but listen to the finance minister, Ken Oforiatta, in Parliament today, laying out how they anticipate the coronavirus to affect the economy this year.
Preliminary analysis undertaken by the ministry shows that the coronavirus will impact negatively on petroleum receipts due to the collapse of international crude oil prices, customs receipts, other receipts, expenditures especially health-related, and financing conditions on the fiscal front. More generally, it is affecting tourism, hotels, travel, and conferences, FDI, international trade, food and nutrition, and poverty reduction programs. The Speaker, measures are being put in place to close a possible financing gap in the 2020 budget that could result from the impact of the coronavirus. These measures may include withdrawal from the Ghana Stabilization Fund, occasioned by anticipated shortfalls in the ABFA. We'll come to this August House to seek for the necessary approvals when it's necessary in due course. We are currently in discussion with the World Bank to tap into a $12 billion World Bank Group fast-track COVID-19 facility to help close the financing gap. In addition, we are discussing with the IMF to access part of a $10 billion facility made available by the IMF to address coronavirus through the Rapid Credit Facility. We are also discussing with other multilateral and bilateral partners on potential assistance to close the financing gap.
Well, he says he's confident the measures that they are pursuing currently to fill the gap that will be created as a result of the coronavirus hit will work.
Even in the difficult global circumstances, Ghana is blessed. Mr. Speaker, this Honorable House granted approval to raise $3 billion from the Eurobond market for 2020. The Ministry worked tirelessly and successfully raised $3 billion at the best rates in our history. Mr. Speaker, the capital market has since collapsed, and we thank God for His guiding presence for the timely issuance of our Eurobonds, which has provided the necessary buffers to support the economy in these grave times. Mr. Speaker, we continue to believe that our land will indeed be healed. We are confident that with our President's vision and leadership, as well as our discipline as a nation and God's guiding hands, we shall spare us and prosper us even in these trying times.
I want to take you to Parliament now, where the minority, after this particular briefing, are raising concerns and demanding further and better particulars. My colleague Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is on the line with me. Joseph, we've heard the details from the Finance Minister. Did the Finance Minister say anything, though, about the $100 million the President announced a few days back as the funds that have been made available already to fight the coronavirus?
So the indication he gave was that particular amount, a collation of the details he gave, the money that's coming from the World Bank, the money that's coming from the IMF, the money that's coming from the stabilization fund that they hope to withdraw from, is all of that will be put together to eventually amount to about $100 million that he spoke of. He indicated that in some of the cases, the applications have already gone already. In fact, the Deputy Finance Minister, Charles Boahene, was the one who gave those details, that with regards to the money that's supposed to come from the World Bank, for example, they are looking at an amount around $35 million because that's supposed to be an amount that the allocation that's coming from the World Bank is supposed to be 1% of every nation's GDP once you are one of the countries that has been hit. So he indicated that the application for that has already gone. I also asked Deputy Finance Minister Charles Boahene subsequently about whether even the stabilization fund would have enough resources in order to support this. He indicated that is a fund that has up to $300 million sitting in it. And so the option could have been to pull all of it from there, but they are trying to look at other sources beyond that. But clearly, the minority MPs make the point that with regards to the specific issue of the $100 million, they would want to see the breakdown and the details, and also a legislation of a sort brought to the House for approval by members of Parliament before any possible spending on that could actually be the case. Kaisel Attoforsen is the minority spokesperson on finance. He's been addressing the media even after the finance minister spoke in the House.
This is a missed opportunity. His Excellency the President had informed us as a country that he has made available 100 million Ghana US dollars, amounting to about 560 million Ghana cedis. The minister was silent on it. I would have thought that he would have given us breakdown and where that money is going, and where that money is actually coming from. What is the role of Parliament in terms of oversight? Yes, he missed that opportunity, and we think as a matter of urgency, he should appear before us and give us the breakdown and the background to that information, because it's important for us to be aware. What is happening, as we said, is bad. It's sad news. It is scary. In fact, we should all be careful. We want to assure the government that we are there to support the government, to ensure that we protect lives of our people. But to that extent, we still have to ensure that we do what is required of us, by ensuring value for money, by ensuring due diligence, and making sure that we perform our oversight responsibility on expenditure. And that is what we are trying to do.
Joseph, on the floor, though, there were reactions once they've heard the details from the finance minister. And
Harun Idrisu, who is the minority leader, kept hammering on the point about the said $100 million and the need for the necessary oversight. In fact, he drew attention to how come there's been a conversation between the leadership of Parliament and former President Mahama, who is asked that the minority supports the government in all their measures. But he says before they'll be able to do that, they need full disclosure on, for example, what the $100 million will be spent on.
We have a duty to remind the Minister for Finance to provide answers. Why is conspicuously lost in your statement the state of the $100 million? We want to know whether you have committed the money as was directed by the President, and for what purpose. What will the $100 million be used for? Because you are aware that the WHO have assessed Ghana in their assessment, which was published. They said case management 0%, our preparedness, rapid response 30%, PPEs we are doing well in terms of 30%, and they position Noguchi and the Kumasi Research Institute as being capable. So we are demanding from you, where is the $100 million and for what purpose? What is it dedicated for? We need to know as a country. Because even as we speak, major hospitals have no water supply, particularly in the Tema area and in many other areas around Pram Pram. when you say they should wash their hands with what water? And what are you providing for purpose that they will be able to keep themselves clean and clean themselves away from the hazards and threats of coronavirus?
And Joseph, the Speaker, and the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, was in the chair today when the Finance Minister was addressing the House. He thought, and he gave some really strong views on what he believes should happen, talking about extraordinary times, almost invoking the apocalypse, and asking for more briefings and details from ministers. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Evan.
I'm just curious about the intervention made by Alban Babe, who was talking about the almost the apocalypse and asking ministers to come before the House because of the extraordinary times we're in.
Exactly the case. So he makes the point that this is a situation with the coronavirus that requires the support of all MPs. First of all, he has actually summoned a number of other ministers. You recall we've heard from the health minister before, and today we've heard from the finance minister on the issue. He's been asking that 4 other ministries, the Minister for Education, the Minister for Health himself, as well as the Ministers for Defense, Interior, and National Security appear before the House to brief MPs on what they are doing in their various sectors to deal with the issue, and that he thinks it's a multifaceted issue that requires the approach of government at the level of a very close combination. He's been giving those directives in the House earlier today.
These, as we've all been saying, are abnormal times. And we all have to use abnormal solutions. I believe in fire quenches fire. And experience has shown us that these are things that you don't play with. Because the plague of 1346, which also started from China, wiped off 50% of the population of any country that got that infection. 50%.
I want to bring in now the minority spokesperson on finance, Kesa Tufose. Mr. Tufose, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Hello, Evans.
Hi. I heard in the briefing today, also on the floor of Parliament, the minority committing to assist the government in whatever it takes to get to win this war against coronavirus. And so some will question the point of the questioning of the 100 million, etc. You say it is you doing your job to also exact accountability.
Yes, Evans, our minister responsible for finance today came to Parliament with a mission to brief members of Parliament on the impact of the coronavirus on the economy. Let me say that I wasn't happy. For a better word, let me say I'm disappointed. Disappointed in the sense that if you were to look at the economic impact of a major pandemic of this magnitude, you cannot come to Parliament with only one paragraph, one-page document. The page on coronavirus is woefully inadequate because, look, the economy, we had 4 sectors of the economy. You have the fiscal sector, the real sector, the monetary, and then the external. That makes the economy of Ghana. Okay. Unfortunately, he only presented a fiscal implication on the coronavirus. The fiscal implication as well that he presented, he failed to quantify them and gave us some quantifications and major measures that are going to put in place. I call it a bit rash or probably a lazy work. In the sense that His Excellency the President recently announced $100 million in the form of expenditure that will be used to fight this major pandemic in our country. The Minister missed the opportunity to brief us as to where the money is coming from and where exactly this money is going to go. He was very silent on it. What he talked about was the fact that crude oil prices are going to go down, and obviously customs receipts and other expenditures are going to go up. Well, how much of the customs revenue are you expecting to go down? Do some modeling. Give us some quantification. Give us some assumptions. What are the assumptions? Assuming it lasts for 1 month, what will be the impact? If it lasts for 2 months, what will be modeling? Scenarios. Let us see. Crude oil prices is coming down. What is the impact on the budget? You said in vague that is going to come down. But my agreement is that if you look at it from fiscal, yes, crude oil prices is going to come down. It's actually coming down. It is actually affecting revenue flows into the budget. But let's face it. What is the impact on the balance of payment from the monetary side? Are we actually building enough buffers? We need to know. What impact on the rail sector? Is businesses taking advantage of the oil prices that is coming down? Is it resulting in increase in profitability? Is it easing the economy in a way because oil prices are coming down? We need to know. We need to have some quantification. The external issues. Clearly, we need to have information. He also mentioned that, yes, they are looking at tapping into the World Bank and IMF funding. And my argument is simple. IMF will lend to you. Yes, it's a rapid credit facility coming from IMF. You will certainly have to pay that. Knowing IMF, they will have to ensure that you can repay that money. So in doing that, they will actually be subjecting you into debt sustainability. What are the conditionalities attached to that loan? You failed to tell us. 1 page. The document that he presented to Parliament is a little bit too short.
Is it safe to assume then, I mean, knowing how rapidly this coronavirus issue has developed, that as of now, it's not going to be possible to have that all figured out in this particular brief?
Evans, no. The Minister for Finance doesn't work alone. He works at the Ministry of Finance with about 1,700 to 2,000 people working in that ministry. He has the central bank also there working. He's not the one putting this document together. People should be able to work day and night to give us some answers, to tell us where we are going as a country.
But
so immediately we can put measures in place.
In the absence of that, though, he announced a series of measures that they are currently pursuing to fill the gap. So he talks about monies from the World Bank, the IMF, etc., that they are pursuing to help fill this gap. Applications have already gone in for that to happen.
Evans, that is only financing. He's looking at how to finance the budget in the sense that what is happening probably is expecting some shortfall in revenue, and so he has to finance this or borrow some more money to fix it. And for me, before I come to that conclusion of financing, I want to know what is the quantum of what we are losing as a country. And give me some scenarios. Do something and let me know. Failure to do that, you can't go jump into financing, because that is what is actually going to feed into the financing. So that work must be done. The Minister of Finance staff must work and give us some information. So we all support it, and that is what I said, that we are in for the good of it. We want to support the government. The government will have to come to clean and let us all rally and then support the system.
Let me see if I can get some clarity from the chairman of the Finance Committee, Dr. Marcus Sibeba. Dr. Sibeba, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Yes.
I'm grateful that you could join us. Let me ask this $100 million. Have you received any briefing on it in terms of where it's coming from, whether the money is actually being made available, what it's going to be used for? Those are questions that the MPs on the other side have been asking today.
So, first, good evening. The government estimates that it would need about $100 million to contain this crisis. Now, government intends to tap into the World Bank Group's fast-track COVID-19 facility. So this is a facility that has been made available by the World Bank to all member nations. It's a $12 billion facility. And so right there, Ghana has the opportunity to tap into and receive some funding from there. Again, the IMF has also made available a rapid credit facility of 10 billion United States dollars.
You said 10 billion?
10 billion, yes.
Okay, but that's not only for Ghana, right? That's something we can also access part of.
So that's why we are only talking about $100 million, because between the fund and the bank, we are talking of $22 billion. And all member countries, more so countries that have been affected by the coronavirus, are eligible. So we are going to tap into this and then rake in the $100 million that we are talking about. So for anybody to now start asking where the $100 million is coming from and how it's going to be dispersed, I think it's premature. So these are facilities that have been made available to member countries, and we seek to tap into.
So confirm for me from what you say. It doesn't appear from what you're saying that this $100 million. It doesn't appear that it is available now that we can access and use for the fight today.
It's going to be available because per our strength in these Bretton Woods institutions, I think we are to receive about 0.1%. There's some guaranteed amount that is going to come to us. So in total, this adds up to the $100 million that we are talking about. So it's not as if it's a given. Yes.
So I get what you're saying. It's a given that it will come, but seeing that the virus is not waiting, and we need to deal with it now, and we need resources and logistics. It's not available now. It will come. I guess that's a challenge that many will look at and say.
It's not a challenge. Money is fungible. So to the extent that you know you are going to receive this $100 million, then you can take money from your consolidated fund and apply it to stem the spread of the virus. So you are guaranteed this $100 million. So the president doesn't just conjure this $100 million figure. We will receive that amount, and so to start with, you are able to tap into your consolidated fund, monies that are already in the country, and then you can apply it to contain the virus.
They also, the minority had asked today that there should have been a bit more detailed modeling of how much exactly the economy is going to lose as a result of the coronavirus. Then that can inform planning going forward. They say the finance minister's briefing lacked that detail.
How can anybody? I don't know who will be able to supply that information at this point. First, there's a collapse of international crude oil prices. Prices are still declining. We don't know the bottom line. Custom receipts, imports. We don't know the extent to which imports are going to be affected. Other receipts, expenditures related to health. We don't know how much the country is going to spend. This has affected tourism, travel, conferences, for FDI, international food, nutrition, poverty reduction, and all other efforts. How can anybody at this point get a handle on how much this is going to affect them?
But isn't it why we have projections? And this is the time that projections are good. In all economies, I've had the US projection, I've had the UK, even the European Union projections about...
Tell me about the US projection. I haven't heard that. Tell me about
they're talking the Fed, for example, is the basis of that over the weekend, the cut interest rate, because of the projections that they've already made about how much this is going to cost the US economy in terms of jobs, for example, and in terms of the hit to the GDP. These are hard things that you could project and look down the line and use that as a basis to plan.
These are LEDs. I don't think we can get a full 100. What the minister said is that this virus is going to impact negatively on our economy. We all admit. Mind you, we are an oil exporting country. We are also an oil importing country to the extent that we import finished products. At the pump, for instance, then you can talk about if now crude is selling at $33, what is the impact at the pump? Okay, but for you to have a full handle at this point to say that custom receipts, this is how much we are going to lose from customs revenue, from other receipts, how much we are going to spend on health-related expenditure. How can you know? Do you know the number of cases we are going to record? Do you know the countryside expenditures that we are going to incur, cross-border infections and all of these? And so we admit that there is going to be a negative impact on the economy, but I don't think we are there yet to give the full extent of this on the economy.
Okay. Mr. Tufosing, and at this moment, as many have said, I guess is the uniting bit for fighting a common enemy that I guess is most important in the minds of people. I know you have concerns about the specifics, etc., going forward, But in the interim, as you wait for those details to come, collectively, though, what is it that you're committing to do in this fight?
Evans, let me say that we are in this together as a country. The virus does not know NDC or knows NPP or the other side of the house and the other side of the house. We are one. But in order for us to plan appropriately, the government will have to come clean with data and information, because they are the ones that sit on data. So we can guide them and help us to plan together, because it's not one-sided. It is for all of us. There's nothing wrong for the government to do some simulations and scenarios. That is why I 100% disagree with my colleague Marcus Ideyabwa when he said that you do not have a handle, so you should wait until you have a handle before you start quantifying certain things and plans. You have scenarios. In the case of the port, you can say that yes, if the volumes, for instance, reduce by, say, 10%, what will be the impact? If you reduce by, let's say, 20%, what will be the impact? And what are the corresponding measures you can put to it to make sure you can deal with it? If, for instance, it tumbles completely and nothing comes in at all, how much are you losing? These are scenarios. The oil prices, it is coming down. How many liftings do you have to do in the course of the year? What pricing numbers, what price do you use in the budget, and where it has gotten to? How much revenue are you losing? If this situation lasts for 6 months, what will be the impact? If it lasts for 3 months, what will be the impact? These are scenarios. These are things that Ministry of Finance should be doing, and the Minister of Finance should be coming clean with us so that we can guide them. I heard him talk about expenditure. Already the President has made an announcement of $100 million as the expenditure. We want to know, where is this going? It's a fair question.
And I'm pretty sure that as the days go on, these questions, hard questions, will continue to be asked. But I'm grateful, Mr. Toforson, that you joined us. Just ran out of time on this one. Dr. Marcus Ideyabwa, thank you very much. As Parliament gets briefed on how this may affect or will affect the economy this year, the Finance Minister says they're already taking measures. I want to quickly update you on the latest on the infections and suspected cases. And this is according to the Ghana Health Service COVID-19 portal, set up purposely to update us. Currently, as of tonight, the number of confirmed cases still stand at 6. Now, we are expecting another briefing as soon as tomorrow morning that may change that figure. But as of tonight, it's confirmed cases of 6. Now, the detail also show that these 6 cases had come into contact with, now we know, 350 people. So 350 contacts have so far been identified from these 6 cases alone. And there are follow-up for these contacts have commenced. In other words, the health officials are tracking and looking for these 350 contacts. What I mean is individuals who came into contact with these 6 confirmed coronavirus cases. They are looking for them. Some of them have already been found, and testing, we understand, will happen or is already happening. We should get further details on this tomorrow. And as you know, meetings have already happened with the President and the Pharmaceutical Society, the Parliament, etc. We are still expecting that emergency legislation to go to Parliament shortly. Join us on Newsline, which starts right now because we have the latest for you on that.